tell my age. And so getting to understand that, I also came upon the realization. The theme is love. The theme for today is love and forgiveness. And as far as forgiveness goes, we kind of have to expect that people are going to hurt us. We have to expect that people, even unknowingly, people hurt us all the time. Somebody said something to me the other day, and they don't even know that they offended me, and I walked home like, man, that was mean. And we just have to expect that it's going to hurt us. Our family's going to hurt us. Our husband and wives are going to hurt us. Our boyfriends and girlfriends are going to hurt us. Our best friends, our parents, other Christians, people in the house of God, people are going to hurt us no matter what. Even the people close to us sometimes hurt us the most. And they will look you right in the eye and they'll lie. Or they'll slap you in the face, or they'll stab you in the back. And we just have to be prepared that it's going to happen, but that God is going to arm us to deal with it. So in Matthew 26:34, Jesus says to Peter, "Truly I tell you, this very night before the rooster crows, you will disown me 3 times." God already knew, like, look here, brother, before the rooster crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter's like, me, Lord, but I love you, and this and that. And Peter was one of Jesus' best friends. He walked with him. He did all the story of Jesus and all the miracles that he performed. Peter was there. Peter was there, and he did it with him. And even though he knew the truth, he still denied Christ. And even though people know your heart, and they know that you're weak in this area, and they know that you're sad about this, and they still say things that hurt you, it's the way of life. It's the way that things happen. And sometimes things that happen to Jesus, you'll find that they're going to happen to you too. But guess what you got to do? Do what Jesus did. You got to do what Jesus did. But even though we do wrong, and even though other people do wrong, there's still something that's so phenomenon. It's such a big phenomenon. It's called forgiveness. And everybody is entitled to forgiveness. So even after Peter disowned Jesus and completely dissed him, he still forgave him. And Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing." And every time somebody raises their hands against us, or says something that completely slanders our name, or even if they do something they don't even know they're doing it to you, you have to remember, just say, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And that's in the church, and that's in the world, and that's in the workplace, that's amongst you and your cronies, that's amongst you and your homegirls, that's amongst you and Eastern Star, and you and the Delta, Sigma, Theta, and everybody. That's everybody who ever engaged with. You have to remember that. You have to stay armed with the Word of God. Yeah. John 20:21-23. After being resurrected, Jesus visits his disciples because they're like, Jesus ain't here. He's not in this too. He's not dead. He's resurrected. And Jesus went and he went to prove that to his disciples. And some of them all feel all kind of bad because they done said stuff about Jesus while he was gone. They thought he wasn't coming back. And Peter clearly done. He was like, okay, all right. And he showed up and they were like, oh, see what happened was he thought she wasn't going to come back. And he was like, okay. Well, he didn't come back and was like, all right, I'll shoot up the place. He came back and he was like, peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, I am sending you. And with that he breathed on them and said, receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive anyone's sins, their sins are forgiven. If you do not forgive, they are not forgiven. And Jesus had the spirit of forgiveness amongst them, even though they did him wrong, and even though they crucified him, and some of them talked behind his back, and his disciples who were supposed to have his back, they were supposed to be right there, like, if you take him, you take me too. Even though they didn't show up, he came back and he was like, but I forgive you. Just like Marcy was up here, was like, even though y'all talking about my clothes are dirty and whatever Hannah said that I did not understand, she reminded me, she came back and she was like, God forgives you and I forgive you and I love you. And we have to do that too. And it's hard to do that sometimes when people just seem so ugly and people just seem so nasty and so evil, and you just say, how can there even be any good in them? I don't even see any good in them. But when you learn to see the beauty in other people, you learn to see the beauty in everything. And that's the beauty in the trees, the beauty in us being in here, the beauty in everything that ever exists that God created. When you are able to see the beauty in everything, you will also see the beauty in yourself. And the more we try to love and understand one another, the more we will see parts of ourselves in them. And understanding them, you understand yourself. Then you can level with them. Then you can reason with them. Then you can actually sit there and be like, "Well, sister, I don't like that you did that. And I don't like that you did this." And you can level with them instead of you saying, "You did this and you did that." And you first stop and say, "You know what? I was wrong that I did this. And I was upset that you did that. And now that we got that out of the way, now let's get down to business." Instead of you popping off the handle and accusing somebody, or you popping off the handle and saying, "You do this, you do this, you do this." First say, "Okay, I know I do this. And I accept this. And I forgive myself. And God forgives me. Now can we move forward?" You can level with them at that point. You can be real with them. You can be honest with them and not condemn them or ridicule them, but you can show them love. And that's the theme today, isn't it? Love and forgiveness is powerful. And if we don't master that as Christians, we're going to have a hard time trying to reach more souls. We're going to have a hard time filling the rest of these seats in here. Can I be real with y'all for like 2 more seconds?
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to say no names. But I was in a past relationship. And for a long time, I felt like I was the only one in the world. I was alone, and nobody understood me. Even my mom, my dad, I could only come to them for parental support. And I was just like, "I need love, I want love, I want love, I want love," whatever. So God's like, "Okay, but you better be careful what you ask for, right?" Yes. So I got the love, whatever. And I was completely open, completely honest, completely just willing to just let it all go and be myself and love somebody. Really, really, really love somebody. And even though we're not together now, I can still honestly say that I did love him. So God's like, "You think that I'm giving you love just to give you love, but I'm giving you love to show you something." And it wasn't until after the relationship ended that I realized what God was giving me love for. So me and him, this guy, were the kind of people, we were like two opposites. And I was oil and he was water, or he was water and whichever way you slice it, we were totally different. But he had the power, he had the kind of dominant personality that I have. Those of you who don't know that, you will soon learn that I have a very dominant personality. I'm very bossy, according to my brother, right? Right? So we had two very dominant personalities, but in realizing that now, God had to give me somebody with a dominant personality, because that's the only person that could break me. He was the only person that could force me to look within inside myself. To stop me from being all hoity-toity like, "No, brother, listen to me and you'll be all right." I had to get somebody that would say, "No, no, this is what I think and this is how it goes." And then I would say, "No, this is how I think and this is how it goes." And God had to give me that, so eventually somebody will figure out, "Oh, you know what, I'm wrong. I'm wrong, I need to humble myself." And that God had to give me that. So God gave it to me. And the relationship started, obviously, to go sour. As you can tell, I'm single today. The relationship went sour, and I decided, you know what, I kind of lost it for a minute. I was like, I don't really know what I'm going to do. It's the first time I really given my whole heart to somebody. I was like, I don't really know where I'm going to go from now. I'm only 20-something, but still, you know, I was like bumping my way to exhale. Like, I was like, 90s baby for real. So, and I kind of lost it for a second. I was like, you know what, I'm going to do me for a while. You know, I forgive him, whatever, because that's what I'm supposed to do, and I'm a Christian, I forgive him, and all that. And I was like, yeah, I forgive him. Peace. Deuces. And then when she said, deuces, I was like, deuces. So I was like, all right, I'm over it. And then he ends up, he keeps texting me, and he's like, you know, I think we should be friends. And I was like, please, like, okay, I'm not with that. And I kept denying the phone calls and ignoring the text. And then one day he texted me, and I was driving, and he was like, why do you hate me so much? And I'm like, I wouldn't give you the satisfaction of hating you. And I'm just going off my car, and I stopped, and I was just like, whoa. So you're not really over it. And God was like, so you're not really over it? All right, so you need to deal with it. And so he was like, why do you hate me? Why can't you forgive me?